Imagine a narrow stretch of water. So small on the map, yet powerful enough to influence global oil prices, international politics, and even the cost of fuel in your city. Welcome to the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important waterways on Earth. Located between Iran to the north and Oman to the south, this narrow passage connects the oil-rich Persian Gulf with the open waters of the Gulf of Oman and beyond into the global oceans. At first glance, it may seem like just another maritime route. But in reality, the Strait of Hormuz is the world's most critical oil choke point. Every single day, roughly 1/5 of the world's petroleum consumption passes through this narrow waterway. That's millions of barrels of crude oil and liquefied natural gas moving on giant tankers, all squeezed through a passage only about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. This means that any disruption here doesn't just affect the Middle East, it affects the entire world. Countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq rely heavily on this route to export their oil to global markets. Much of this oil travels to major energy consumers including India, China, Japan, and countries across Europe. So when tensions rise in this region, oil traders, governments, and industries across the world start paying very close attention. Because even the threat of disruption can cause global oil prices to spike. For example, if shipping slows down or tankers are delayed, supply decreases. And when supply drops but demand stays high, prices rise. That's simple economics, but with massive real-world consequences. Higher oil prices don't just affect fuel costs. They increase transportation expenses, raise airline ticket prices, impact food delivery costs, and even contribute to inflation. In other words, a small stretch of water thousands of kilometers away can directly impact your daily life. But the importance of the Strait of Hormuz isn't just about oil. It is also one of the most strategically sensitive regions in global geopolitics. Naval forces from multiple countries regularly patrol these waters to ensure safe passage for commercial ships. The presence of military vessels, surveillance aircraft, and security operations makes it one of the most monitored waterways on Earth. Over the years, this region has witnessed numerous tensions, standoffs, and incidents involving ships and military forces. Each time, global markets react immediately. This is why experts often call the Strait of Hormuz a geopolitical pressure point. Another interesting fact, despite its global importance, there are very limited alternative routes. Pipelines exist, but they cannot fully replace the enormous volume transported through this narrow channel. That means the world still depends heavily on this single choke point. And that's what makes it so critical. So to summarize, the Strait of Hormuz matters because it carries a huge portion of the world's oil supply. It connects major energy-producing nations with global markets. It influences fuel prices worldwide. And it sits at the center of international geopolitics. In the next episode, we'll take a closer look at the geography of this strategic waterway, and understand just how narrow and vulnerable it really is. Because sometimes, the smallest places on the map hold the biggest power. Stay tuned for episode 3. Subscribe, like and share.